Hello everybody and welcome to another quick verify tutorial. The purpose of this tutorial is to go ahead and walk through how to go ahead and export that Cisco car data out of your call manager, so that way maybe you can bring in a little bit of a historical information into your verify system. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to navigate over to our Cisco call manager and we're going to log in as an administrator. And once you're logged into your call manager, the next thing we're going to do is pop over to the navigation section on the right-hand side, and we're going to go to Cisco Unified Serviceability and click Go. Once this guy loads up, we're going to navigate over to our Tools section over here, and we're going to go to CDR Analysis and Reporting. This is going to bring us right over to where we need to be, and the next step is to go over to the CDR menu, and right over there on the bottom, you're going to see Export CDR CMR. Now, how much data your Cisco call manager is going to hold, by default, it's usually around, you can usually get away with about 60 days, but that's something that you would need to speak with your Cisco call manager administrator on if you wanted to house more. In many cases, once you pop into this CDR CMR export screen, you may get a pop-up that's going to tell you exactly how many days, but as you just saw in my demonstration here, I did not receive that pop-up. It does come down to call manager version, also browser version, pop-up blockers, and things like that. So first thing to do is we're going to uncheck Export CMR Records. Verify is not able to bring in your historical CMR records from a Cisco car dump, so we're just going to uncheck that guy. We're going to select the dates that we want to go ahead and export. If you have a specific date range in mind, you go ahead and run export. If you do not have all of those dates in your Cisco system, that's okay. It's not going to give you an error or anything. It's just going to go ahead and export as much as it can. So from here, we're going to go ahead and hit export file. You can see mine comes back pretty fast because I don't have a whole lot of CDR stored up here. But once yours comes back, it's going to bring up a screen like this, and you'll notice this CDR dump here is going to be a hyperlink. What you want to do there is right-click on that guy and do Save Link As. This is going to bring up your standard save box, so now it's going to hold ahead and bring up a text file. So one thing that's very important is when you go ahead and save this guy, you want to name this and prefix the file name with a lowercase CDR. And then you could throw an underscore or anything in there afterwards, but it does need to be a lowercase CDR in order to grab this file and process it into Verify. So now that we've renamed our file to lowercase CDR underscore and a whole bunch of characters, we're just going to save this guy. You'll notice that guy's saved down in the bottom. No need to open him up unless you want to take a look through some CDR. And that's it. That's how you go ahead and export some CDR information out of your Cisco call manager. And now that we've exported that data, we've saved it into our downloads directory, the next thing we need to do is we need to navigate over to Verify and figure out where on the Verify system we're going to put that data to be able to process in and give you some reportability. So we can go ahead and exit out of a call manager here, and we're going to go ahead and pop right over to Verify. Now, this is assuming you've got a functioning and up and running Verify system. So I'm going to navigate over to Verify, and what we're going to do in this case is we're going to pop right over to our Settings tab over here on the right-hand side, and we're going to go to CUCM. For the most part, everything we need to know is we're going to be able to pull right off of this CUCM screen. Now, I've only got a single publisher here. You may have multiple publishers, so you're essentially going to repeat this process for any additional publishers that you may be trying to pull data off or get some historical data into the Verify system. Now, nice thing about what we're going to do here is this does not apply to just car data. If you happen to have some Cisco CDR floating around that was being used for some other purpose, you can use this same process to bring those same CDR files into the Verify system. It does need to be in the Cisco CDR native format, and it also, the file names that you're going to dump do need to be prefixed with that lowercase CDR in order for Verify to be able to process those guys in. All right, so now we can see we're at the CUCM screen here, CUCM clusters, and right here I have the publisher that I dump the data from, but I also have the directory where I need to put these files. So this directory right here is exactly where we are going to go ahead and add those Cisco CDR files that we just downloaded. So to put those guys in there, we need to be able to use an SFTP client. That could be WinSCP, FileZilla, any SFTP client that you have, but it does need to be an SFTP client if you're using the Windows OVA. If you're using a Windows installation and you support FTP within your environment, of course you can use FTP, but if you're using the Linux OVA, you are going to have to use an SFTP client. So for this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and use the FileZilla application. And so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and log into our Verify server here. So you can do that by pulling the name or the IP directly from the web browser, whatever works for you in your implementation. And I'm just going to go ahead and key in the IP address here of my my lab system, and I'm going to type in the Verify admin login. This is not the login to the Verify web interface. This is not the login to Call Manager. This is the login to the Windows or Linux OVA box for sending data via FTP or SFTP. If you are using the Linux OVA, it will be, and you have not changed the password, it will be the default. If you need to know what that is, you can log into our knowledge base, and you can search any of our installation documentation, and you'll be able to find out what the default login there is. If you're unable to find it in our knowledge base, feel free to reach out to any of our support representatives. We'll be able to get you through it. So I've entered the IP address of my Verify box in this particular instance. I entered my login, and I'm going to use port 22 because that is the SFTP port, and I'm just going to go quick connect. That's going to bring me and successfully log me in right into my Verify box. Now, to make life easier, I can go through and I can navigate down to the directory that I see in my Verify instance here, or I can honestly just copy this guy right out of here. And the nice thing about FileZilla here is I can paste that guy right into the browser, and just like you're using a Windows browser, it's going to bring you right into the directory that you're pasting in there. So now that I've got that in there, the next thing I need to do is take my CDR file. So there's the CDR file that we dumped from our Call Manager. All I have to do is drag this guy right over here, and that's it. There's nothing else that you need to have to do. There's nothing you need to do to kick Verify off or tell them that that file is there. It's going to monitor this directory because in the Verify application we are telling it to. It's going to see that it has a lowercase CDR in front of that file name, and it's going to automatically go ahead and pick it up on its normal schedule. And that's how you import car data or CDR data or any other CDR data from Cisco Call Manager into Verify. Thanks for hanging out.